Today we are taking a trip into deep space and we're going to talk about Project Hail Mary. If you watched the trailers for this movie and thought that you need a PhD to enjoy this film, then you're sadly mistaken because I enjoyed this film without a PhD and I thought it was a great film. Today I'm partnering with my friend from the Archival.Sessions podcast and we're going to break down this film in detail. All the nicks and crannies that you may have missed in this intensely deep and dark thriller up in space. Ryan Gosling plays a disgraced science teacher who gets shot into space on a one-way suicide mission to save humanity. He wakes up in a coma with complete amnesia. He has no idea what's going on, who's around him, and where he is and how he got there. Surrounded by dead bodies and millions of miles away from home, it sounds like an absolute nightmare, but I am here to tell you that it is not a nightmare. It is actually a very beautiful trip through space. Today, my co-host and I are going to break it all down for you. We're going to talk about the crazy amnesia setup, the IMAX visuals effects, the absolute Muppet Show dynamic between Grace and Rocky, and we're going to talk about that wild climax that actually landed, at least for me. But before we dive into the deep end, let's keep it clean for a second. What are your initial thoughts? And feel free to take it away.
So keeping it spoiler free, this is definitely one of the better looking science fiction films that I've seen in a while. I have to say, seeing it in IMAX 70 millimeter, it really, you feel the scale of the film. They aren't, and I know they said they didn't use a lot of green screen. They try to use a lot of practical effects, and you see that in this film. You feel it. I really enjoyed that. Anytime they were in space, you get that full aspect ratio in IMAX.
Yeah.
So immediately, all those scenes really stood out. There's a real chemistry to Rocky and Grace, Ryan Gosling character. And overall, I was satisfied, but I'm not going to lie, I do have a few gripes that I didn't like. I'll go into it more in my spoil, but I think this movie got too Marvel happy in terms of it's a little too much of a comedy for me. That's just me.
I did find myself laughing out loud quite a few times.
Yeah, it's funny. I was like, oh, this is funny. Oh, wow.
It was funnier than expected. I didn't expect it to be as funny as it was, but I was pleased with how funny it was, but I was surprised by the amount of funny that was in it. So, and with that being said, everybody go ahead and consider yourselves warned. We're going to go ahead and jump right into the breakdown of this movie. And if you haven't seen this movie, I do suggest that you hit pause and come back later and then check this out. Because if not, then you're going to get it spoiled for you. But if you don't mind that, then please stick around. All right, so we're going to start from the beginning. Grace wakes up with amnesia, and he's basically in this fake horror movie type setup. He wakes up, he sees a couple of bodies around him, and he's tripping and fumbling around in the spaceship. I thought it was crazy that he didn't even know his name, but yet he knew how to work certain scientific things, and even he asked himself, how do I know this? But I guess because it's Ryan Gosling, I guess we're supposed to just roll with the punches, so I'll roll with the punches on that because it didn't throw me off too much, but it is what it is. How do you feel about the opening and everything that went into that and the flashbacks on and how we actually got to see him get his memory back?
Right. Once how the movie started, I was like, okay, we're going non-linear. That's immediately my thought when I saw it. Okay, this won't be in chapters story. We're going to go back and forth. I was not mad at it at first. And that's the same. Ryan Gosling does a really good job at just, being in space by himself and just, I know one joke. He's like, why do I know what that is? Like, wait, I'm smart. And it was just like, it was funny. And I was like, okay, this movie's warming up for us. And I did appreciate that. Then when it jumps back to Earth, it kind of is like, okay, we know where he gets to, but how did he get there? I did enjoy that aspect.
Did you know that they were going to a different sun? Because when in the promotional material, I always assumed that they were going to our sun. So it threw me off when they went to a different sun.
All of these space movies, I'm always just like, they're going to a different galaxy. I kind of let the science jargon be science jargon. And I'm like, hey, okay, I'm just, wherever you're saying you're going, I'm with it.
I was. How did you feel about the, what do they call it? The astrophage?
Astrophage. I honestly, I thought that was really cool. I loved how they explained it. And that's where the comedy worked, where like Ryan Gosling is kind of like a bro scientist. Like he's giving you jock energy of like, oh, I don't really know a lot, but he's actually really smart. So it definitely helps with the audience, like understanding like what is astrophage and that what is it, the Petrova line that was going from Venus to the sun. Yeah, I feel like they did a really good job of explaining that science fiction stuff, like in a fun way. Like especially
I
when
agree.
he's like, yeah,
I agree. I think with the science fiction stuff, and I think I saw him say it in one of the interviews that they clearly it's a science fiction movie, but they didn't want to bore people or make anybody crazy with the actual numbers, and I think they did that real well. So I guess the one thing that I wonder if you picked up on it or not, what were those like spore things? Were they made of water or? And I guess maybe it wasn't meant to be understood, but I
right.
guess I was a little confused about. I understood it was something that was actually maybe I guess I don't understand because something was connected to the sun and it was connected to Venus and it was some whatever that what was that? Do you know?
Astral Page. So as how I thought of it was just like this is some single cell organism that feeds off the energy of from the sun. And by
Okay.
doing that, it's making our Earth cooler. And I was like, okay, that's how I understood it as. If I'm, I don't know if I'm right, but I understood it as that these things, how their feed off, get energy is through the sun. That's how I saw it as. That's the
I
saying. I
got
really
you.
like the scene where he's with the what's that actress's name? Sandra. I really liked her performance because she was kind of like the no nonsense, like, look,
Yeah.
it's happening right now. We need answers. And I really like how they introduced her where she's like, did you write this paper? And he's like, yeah. Like, and she's like, look, we need scientists that believe in themselves. And that's where my issue with the film comes is because once I realized, okay, how jokey we were going, I just
Mhm.
knew like, well, they're gonna solve the problem. Like there was never a moment of the dread because I feel like she brought the dread to the story of like, no, we're all gonna die if you don't do this, while he was still
Yeah.
kind of like having fun. And I was just like, I don't know if I like that.
I agree because I think that her character gave a lot of levity to this and I hope I use that word correctly. She definitely brought an emotional weight to the story that balanced out some of the comedic stuff that was going on. And she definitely made you feel like, hey, the earth, no matter what happens, bro, like the earth is gonna die, period, point blank. It doesn't matter. And then we even see at the end, we see that the earth is started to freeze over or whatnot.
Right.
So she wasn't lying that a lot of people are gonna die. So actually touching on that subject, how did you feel about going back to space for a moment? How did you feel about the ship design, the design in space, the I guess Rocky's ship? That was pretty interesting. It kind of reminded me of something from that Stephen King movie from the '80s. Reminded me of that ship a little bit. Then it
Mm.
kind of reminded me of Interstellar a little bit when he went through.
Yeah, and he's like the lighting sequence thing he's
Yeah,
doing.
it
Yeah,
reminded
yeah,
me of
yeah.
that. I kind of saw a lot of that in it. What did you think about those?
I really like the spaceship that the humans make. I really enjoyed how anytime he did like the gravitational, like it would extend itself and like shift. And I thought how they shot it really good. I liked like it wasn't, sometimes in space movies the camera's moving too slow and just
Yeah,
like this
like an
movie
Apollo
kept it
13.
very exactly. It kept it very kinetic and like you felt involved, especially when he first sees Rocky's ship and he's like playing like hide and seek with the ship. I was like, okay, this is working for me. It is funny. And I liked in the beginning, remember when every time he sat in the seat, it was like pilot mode engage. And he's like, I'm not a
But he'd be like,
pilot.
"Oh yeah, I'm not the pilot. I'm not the pilot."
I was saying,
I enjoyed those moments.
yeah, I was saying all those, they really do work. Ryan Gosling's really selling it. And then all the space sequences, like they don't feel boring. That's the saying. It does not ever drag. And I can tell they didn't want it to drag. But
I
also,
agree.
I just, not, it just made me not want to revisit it because it's too funny. I just thought it was too funny, and I was just like,
I could watch it
because
again at home,
I don't know. That's the thing. I don't know if I want to watch this at home. I feel like
but it
only
probably
seeing
wouldn't
it
be
in
as good
theaters.
because
Yeah,
unless I have, and I don't have one yet, but I would need like one of those wide, top to bottom, like projector screens to enjoy this at home, probably.
right.
Because you need that.
Yeah, I was saying, but I did enjoy the designs, especially Rocky's ship and how like they see through sound. And then I liked how they connected that early. Remember, he was with the kids and he was saying like sound is frequency, showing you the waveforms, and then we go to the ship and how they see and do everything is through sound. And I was like, okay, that's really cool. That's cool.
I'm glad they took that time earlier to go ahead and feed us that little nugget because it came back to help us understand what it was kind of going on later. I thought that was good for them to add in. And speaking of Rocky, what did you think about the Rocky character? I guess maybe because I've never read the book before, I was somewhat surprised by the Rocky character. I mean, I saw it in the commercials, obviously, but to actually watch it play out on screen, it was I don't know. I guess a little creepy at first because it's like just this big mud ball looking molded character. And I think that was pretty practical. What I mean, it looks
No, it was
practical.
it was puppeteering. They used puppeteering. It was 5 people puppeteering it. So that's what I'm saying. The movie did champion practical effects. And I do really enjoy that.
And that's probably why it looks so good too.
Yeah, it looks good. Especially the joke when he was like, "How do you eat?" And then he showed the Rock.
Yeah.
And he's like
through the bottom.
I was like, okay, this is funny.
That was hilarious.
That was funny.
Hilarious. I enjoyed that scene.
Yeah.
And just speaking of the laughs, like they had a lot of little funny scenes that I'm not going to say they intended for them to be funny, but they were humorous or they would balance out maybe some of the heavy stuff that was going on in the moment.
Right.
But especially once, because Rocky came in, maybe about halfway through the movie, because he definitely did a large portion of this movie outside of the flashbacks by himself.
Right.
And outside of, in my opinion, outside of I Am Legend, I don't think I've seen a big blockbuster type movie where somebody act this well on their own for that length of time. That was a long time to be by yourself.
See, wow, that's good you're bringing up I Am Legend because I liked how they showed like it wasn't funny to Will Smith. Like he was on Earth by himself. And that's what I'm saying. That's where the movie where I'm like on rewatch, I know I'm not gonna like how funny it was. I'm gonna be like, especially like, sometimes you watch a movie by yourself and you're like, they're making too many jokes. It's too. It was just.
And I've experienced movies like that where first watch I enjoyed it, and second watch it was like, man, maybe it wasn't as good as I thought it was.
And I'm gonna see it again with my fiance, so that's what I'm looking forward to. Like, all right, let me see if I'm being too harsh or it is really this funny. But especially the moments where he has the 2 astronauts that died and he had to like give him a funeral. As I'm saying, this movie has a lot of like heavy moments, but because and I don't know if this was the filmmaker's intentions, I feel like they were afraid to get too dark. Also, this is a suicide mission. That's why I'm like, you should get dark and you should give a little more space between your jokes. But it was one point, it was like a joke a minute. I was kind of like, pause a little.
I agree with that. I think this movie, because they wanted it to be as big as it probably is.
Yeah,
I think it was they probably had a hard line at PG-13. We cannot go above this because now we can't get kids in here. So I understand that from a marketing and selling standpoint that we can't make this get too heavy, too dark. But I do think they told the line pretty well by, even though you pretty much knew that they were probably going to work out in the end,
right?
Yeah, they were going to find a way to save the day. I did think that the heavy moment that they did leave out for an opinion basically is you really didn't know if he was going to live or not. You didn't know if he was going to make it back to Earth or not.
Right.
When the whole thing with Rocky, when he almost died, or one of the 2 times he almost died, you really didn't know if he was going to make it back or not. They thought they left those moments open on purpose for some heaviness in the movie. And that I did enjoy because I'm sitting back like, damn, I'm like, is it going to make it? Like, is Rocky really? I was pretty sure Ryan Gosling wasn't going to die, at least not to the very end. But Rocky, I was worried about.
No, that was a really good scene too, where because Rocky had to get out of his, because he couldn't breathe oxygen, right? Like, when he gets out,
oxygen, it did something to his body, like we saw. It basically started like burning up like a vampire type thing.
I did enjoy that where Ryan Gosling's going through the ship and he's like he thinks Rocky's dead, and it was just like that was a That was a good inclusion. But that's what I'm saying. Even in those moments, I was still like, they don't have the balls to kill them. Because this is so fun and like they're having fun. I'm like, there's no way they're gonna kill these characters. So that's why I kind of leaned back to my chair. I was like, this is kind of toothless because you're not really biting us. Like, you're not gonna go there.
I thought they could have killed Rocky and got away with it. But the Ryan Gosling of it, as the movie progressed, I started to almost feel like, especially once they introduced where Rocky's ship could produce more of the astrophage and could actually get him back home, I was like, okay, yeah, he's definitely going to make it back home.
Yeah.
And I was surprised that I guess the movie ends with him deciding not to go back home, but continuing to be a teacher. I thought that was, I didn't really like that. Tell me what you think about that part.
The ending was, that's what I'm saying. The movie, like, we knew they'll have the answer. Like, he's like, I don't have enough astrophage to get back to Earth. And Rocky's like, oh, I have enough. Okay. And then the astrophage starts leaking in his ship and he's like, I have to go save Rocky. He saves him really like everything was a little too easy. And I was just like, that's why the ending was like, of course they build a biodome for him. He's fine. He's still teaching. And it was just like, everything was, this is Project Hail Mary. I wanted to feel at least a little
the Hail Mary.
Yeah, the Hail Mary-ness of it all. That's why on Earth, all those scenes feels strong.
Yeah, now the Earth scenes were really heavy, and it definitely felt like a Hail Mary for the Earth people because it was a flip of a coin, it's either going to work or it's not. And the one scene that you just spoke on with him going to save Rocky, kind of corny, and I knew he was going to do it. But I will say that how they left it open for interpretation that maybe he still won't make it back to Earth because he ended up sending all of those drones back or whatnot.
Right.
So they did kind of leave it open like, okay, this is his final sacrifice. This is his last good deed. He could die. Even though he probably wasn't going to die, but, maybe he could die.
Well, that's the same. There was, this is Amazon. I think this is their most expensive film that they've released. There's a lot behind this.
I didn't even know it was an Amazon film.
Yeah.
Until I got to the movie and saw it flash on the screen. I'm like, what? This is an
Amazon.
I'm like, get out of here.
So I know they like, you have to play it safe a little. And I think a part of the movie played it safe. But the reason why I won't go so hard on it is because it looks good, though. I will give them, they did not cut corners. I think Greg Fraser, he's a cinematographer on this. Yeah. He did the Dune movies. He did Batman. He did a lot of big movies. So I'm like, no, this looks really good, though.
It looks fantastic. Like, I have 10 out of 10, zero complaints about how this movie looks and sounds. It is amazing. And I'm not a sound person, so I know shit about sound, but I know that this sounded great in comparison to a lot of other movies I've seen, especially space movies, because they're usually kind of like the new Star Wars movies. They're a little, I don't know, it's like that airy sound, that choo, 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 choo. And I did feel like I got a lot of that in this.
I'm a big Star Wars fan. So I love Star Wars sounds. Like, I'm a sucker. I get suckered in. I'm like, oh, yeah, it sounds good.
We're gonna have to break down that last Skywalker trilogy one day. We're gonna have to break that down because the irritation I have for that trilogy, I can talk about for hours. But anyways,
the biggest question is, did you like Last Jedi? See, this is a breaking point for Star Wars. I love Last Jedi. I do love it.
Overall, yes. I could pick it apart, but overall, yes, I did like it. I probably would watch it again, and I would probably have the same gripes. But overall, yes. But
that's where the fracture happened for Disney. When Last Jedi came out, I was like, this is gonna fracture everyone.
I just felt like to do what they did with that, they should have had a better plan for the reaction that was coming after that. You would have been crazy to know that was not going to split a fan base down the middle. Do you feel that the Project Hail Mary film leaned a little bit too hard into the buddy comedy feel?
Well, like I said earlier, it does, but it came from a place of, that's what I'm saying, I think for Amazon, it came from a place of fear. And also, like, we have to remember Phil and Lord Miller, those guys made 21 Jump Street. And I recently just watched 22 Jump Street. That movie is so dumb. And that's what watching this one, I was like, they're funny guys. They're just funny guys. So they're going to bring that comedy to it.
I didn't know that it was the same guys from that until like a couple of days ago, and I'm just like, man, I'm like, these guys have definitely graduated because yeah, they still bring that same the funny energy or whatnot, but the directorial style is completely different.
Yes, they definitely had to tell a bigger story. That's what I'm saying. Like the scene on Earth, I really did enjoy it when Sandra Hüller is doing the karaoke scene. Because
Mm.
remember, Ryan Gosling's confused, like, why is everyone celebrating? Because they're like, this is the last hurrah. Like, all you can do is just embrace this moment. And we know we're on a suicide mission. And I really, that's a scene where I was like, see, I wish the movie touched on that emotion.
And they could have done that a little bit more without messing with the rating at all.
Right.
They could have explored that a little bit more. Do you wish they would have explored maybe his flashbacks a little bit deeper in length to kind of spend a little bit more time on Earth, or maybe give us a little bit more of Eva's character to kind of maybe see while he was up in space that gap of time between the last flashback where they basically tricked him into getting on the
Right.
well, forcefully tricked him to get on, to basically the end of the movie where it's the Earth is basically frozen over. Do you wish we maybe had a little bit more feeling on what happened on Earth?
No, not really. Only thing is, I thought that flashback when we learned that he was basically forced to go to space, I felt like that came too late in the game.
Yeah, yeah.
I kind of forgot, like, oh yeah, he had amnesia. He was forcibly in a coma. But I was like, how did he get that question kind of left my mind. And then when it
I agree.
happened, I was like, oh yeah. I thought that came too late. That was my only thing about the Earth back to space. I was like, that came late. We should have learned that earlier.
I agree with that. I think by the time it came, it didn't matter anymore.
Yeah, it was like he already saved everyone. And we know he is. So I kind of was like, I don't even remember that. But I thought that was funny how they were like, you're our backup scientist and we're just gonna sedate you.
Yeah,
I was like, that's funny.
everybody was just staring at him, and he's like me.
And they're like, yeah, it's you. But also, what was the explosion? It was because they were like over testing the astrophage. What happened? Because it happened and I didn't really catch the line where they were
I
talking
think
about
they
why it
said it
exploded.
had a. I know it's something about. I know it was right after that scene where they showed it melt the metal. Something about it getting too hot.
Right. Yeah. That was the only thing I got confused about. I was just like, wait, what? Why are they? First, I thought, like, you know how the trailer puts in the movie, you make it seem like
Hmm.
it's like an end of the world situation. And it's like, oh, we got to go
Yeah,
now. But it was just like, oh, no, it was because they were experimenting in the astrophage. And I realized it later on the engine on the ship. Anytime he was like shifting, they would show the
hmm,
astrophage and like how they're using it to power
yeah.
the ship. That was
I thought
really
that was
cool
cool too.
design. I like that. I really enjoyed it.
And speaking of all of that, how do you feel about the ending? Did they stick the ending? Like, were you satisfied with the way this film ended? Because I am. I was satisfied with this film as a whole. Like I said, I gave it a 4.5. Well, I'm going to give it a 4.5, 9 out of 10. But the ending for me, I don't know if I just watch too many horror movies or if I just like tragic shit, but the ending for me, that the happiness of it, and even having the option to still go back to Earth is just like, oh my god, like this is a little bit too happy. But maybe that's just me. What do you feel?
It's one of those things where they're having their cake and they're eating it. It's like he gets to
Yeah,
go back to Earth. He's still a teacher. He saved the world. Like he kind of checked every box. And that's what I'm saying. Like, if this is truly a Hail Mary, there should be there's a miss. Like where it's like he misses with they should have been like, hey, you can't go back to Earth. And then him being like, I'm accepting I'm on this alien planet.
I would have
Okay,
been
maybe.
happier. I would have been
Yeah.
way happier about that than basically him having just options now. Like he could really just go
I
be
got
like a space hopper if he wanted to. He could
it.
be a space cowboy. Just what? Let's skip to another galaxy before I go back to Earth. Even though they're never doing a sequel to this, and I'm completely sure they're never doing a sequel to this. Just in
You
general, it's just
no, they're
why
making
it
a
ended that
sequel.
way.
They're making a sequel. This
I
movie's gonna
completely
make
doubt.
a lot of money. And remember, Amazon's a new studio, so they're like, oh, They made money. Greenlight the sequel. We know Hollywood. We're up to the point if a movie even makes like a penny of a profit, they're like greenlight the sequel. It's coming. It's gonna come. I'm pretty
Where do
sure
you
we're getting a sequel.
where do you think a sequel could go?
See,
I
this
have
is
no
why.
clue. I mean, I guess
No,
it could be his journey back to Earth.
this is where I don't know if you saw Ready or Not 2. That movie proves
No, not
some
yet. I
things
haven't, but
don't
I've
need a
heard of.
sequel. Yeah, it's like it doesn't need a. You didn't have another idea, and we can tell. Even though I'm being cynical, being like, "Oh, they're gonna make a sequel," but if they were to make a sequel, it'd probably be they'll solve another problem for another galaxy. I don't know. They're space cops.
I can see that. I can see that. I can see that. I could definitely see that. Now that makes sense because they only really helped out their two galaxies with the astrophage problem with the whole I forgot what's called the
Petrova line.
yeah. And so technically there's still a lot of other messed up places. So if they did a sequel, they could go patrol the galaxy looking for problems like that. I could see it going that direction. Him and Rocky will be,
I hope that doesn't
but you know,
happen.
for a sequel they'll add a third person, so it'll probably be him, Rocky, and then I don't know, some different type of alien
No,
species. Maybe they'll grab a
you know,
predator.
you know what joke really got me when he was talking about Rocky? He's like, and then in 7, Rocky trains Creed's son. I think I was laughing the loudest in the theater because I was like, they just referenced Creed in a movie. That's funny. I was like, that's
They
really funny.
did. So at least we know Michael B. Jordan won't be in it.
He's like, I can't. I exist in this universe as Michael B. Jordan, so I can't be in it.
So what was your final rating for this movie? Because I already gave mine away with the 4.5 and the 9 out of 10. What do you rate this film?
Okay. So one thing about me, I stopped rating films a while ago because I feel it hurts my brain. I just say if I like it or not. It's easier to say I liked it, and it's very easy. But I'm gonna rate it if I were to rate it. And I've been thinking about this all day because at one point I was like 2.5 stars. I was like, okay, that's too
Right down
harsh.
the middle.
Yeah, I was like, but I'll give it like 3.5, 3 stars.
That's good. 6,
And
7
I
out
was
of
saying,
10. That's good.
I definitely think it is really, but it is just, I care about rewatching movies sometimes, and then sometimes when I watch it is like, I'll remember I saw this in IMAX, I had fun, but it's like, will I revisit this? Probably.
Completely agree. There are movies that I've watched that I've literally never watched again, and
No.
some of them I thought were good, and some of them I knew were bad. And I'm definitely not going to watch that. But I completely agree with your stance on that because some movies I do like to rewatch at home, especially now with young kids or whatnot.
Right.
Kind of check it out with them. But yeah, I completely get what you mean by that.
So I got a question for you. Does this movie get added into the pantheon of like science fiction films for you?
Is this movie like in the same realm with like the ETs and the Encounters of the First Kind and stuff like that? For me, probably not, but for how I've heard others seem to feel about it, I'm going to say yes.
No, there are people giving it 10 out of 10, 5 stars. I'm like, I'm glad.
I've heard people say this movie is better than ET and stuff like that, and I'm nah.
Off the brakes.
Maybe I'm nostalgic, but no, thank you. I'll watch ET before I watch this again.
No, I'm not even a big ET fan, but I'll put ET on that list of like, if I'm talking about, if I were to make a list of like science fiction films, I'm like, this movie doesn't, and I'm not going to lie, even though I don't like comparing movies, I really don't. But like, if I were to watch a movie that's like, oh, the Earth is dying and we got to save it, I'll watch Interstellar before I watch this.
I agree. I would watch Interstellar before I would watch this. I would watch, what's a movie that really makes my head hurt? Tenet before I would watch this again.
Okay, I'm a Tenet hater. Hold up. I am very much like, hey, that movie doesn't make sense, but it looks good though. It looks good. Remember, they say the line, "Hey, don't try to make sense of it. Feel it." And I'm like, okay, I guess I gotta just feel the movie.
And that's exactly what I did. I never tried to make sense of it, and I think that's why I enjoyed it because I knew I would never break that movie down. I would never break that movie down because
that would be fun though to try to understand it. Like,
man, I think no, I don't. I don't want to give myself that type of headache. I think I would rather try to figure out what's the Leonardo DiCaprio movie.
Or Shutter Island or Inception.
Inception is the one I'm talking about. But Shutter Island is a movie I actually wouldn't mind revisiting and like trying to like figure out one day because
Right.
that movie was a little trippy too.
That's a good one.
So before we get off, what are you working on and what do you have going on your side?
What am I excited for? I have some guests on my podcast. We're gonna do what is it? They Will Kill You with Zazie Beats. I'm looking forward to that.
I want to see
That looks
that.
dope.
Thank you for
It
bringing
comes
that
out.
up.
It comes out this Friday, so we're seeing it. I think Thursday night. So I'm gonna have an episode, have some guests on. So excited for that.
I'll definitely be checking that one out. I gotta see if I can find a screening for that because I want to see that as well. I'm excited. I love Zazie Beats. Like I think she's a really.
I think it's
great
getting a
actress.
big release. I think it's going to pretty much be in every theater. I don't think it's a small
Perfect.
release.
Good, because I want to be there when it comes out. I may take off work Thursday.
Well, how about you? What you got? What you got going on?
Nothing much. I'll edit this video once we finish, and then outside of this, I think I'm actually pretty caught up for once. I got a Paradise episode 7 tomorrow. That comes out at 11.
Okay, don't say anything about Paradise. Because I watched the first episode, then I was like, I think I want to binge. So I haven't looked. I don't know anything.
Well, yeah, they have 2 more episodes left this week,
Okay.
and then next week is the finale. So
okay, I might start
episode
watching
7 tomorrow, and it's called the final countdown. So that tells you a lot. And
don't say it. Don't spoil it for me, man. Hold on.
But that's all I'm going to say about it. Outside of Paradise, I'm going to finish crippling my mind by watching Age of Attraction. There's only 1 episode left. That's on Wednesday. Yeah, it's been experience.
You know, me and my fiance, we try to watch it and we're like, this is kind of creepy.
Exactly.
I still haven't finished the first episode, I think.
You probably never will. It's really not worth it if I'm being honest.
Yeah.
And outside of those 2, I know Daredevil's coming out this week. I'm pretty sure they're going to drop at least 2 or 3 episodes.
Okay.
I think that's either Tuesday or Wednesday. What am I covering in the TV world? Daredevil is the big thing that I'm thinking about, especially with Paradise coming to an end. I need another big show to cover, so I'm probably going to cover Daredevil.
Okay. Yeah, I'm excited for Daredevil.
Other than that, I'll probably me and my wife will probably watch Temptation Island when it comes out. I think next week.
When's that come? Where is that on?
Netflix. It used to be on Peacock and USA or something like that, but now it's on Netflix. This is season 2 on Netflix, so that starts next Wednesday. So that'll be much more entertaining than the crap they've been putting out. So I'm looking forward to that, and I'll just cover that just because I'm watching it with my wife, just to talk about it. She enjoys it, so whatever. But yeah, I appreciate you. Thank you again. Thank you for coming by, and thank you everybody for watching this video. And we will both see you next time. Please don't forget to like and subscribe to both channels, by the way. And I guess I could just end it.
Yeah. Peace.